Welcome to Fuller Speed Ahead. I'm Craig Fuller here with Laura Fava. We're right here in Chattanooga. Excited about an announcement. We've added Laura to the team to manage our international, Vice President of International. You're going to help take FreightWaves and go global with it. So welcome to the team.
Thank you. Very excited.
So I'd love to hear a little bit about your background. I certainly know it, but our friends that tune in to Fuller Speed and watch FreightWaves don't know your background. You're relatively new to the freight scene.
Correct.
Talk a little bit about where you've come from.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Berlin, Germany, and actually just kind of ended up in the U.S. Through college sports, luckily, and got to move to the U.S. a few years ago. I think it was like 7-8 years ago, on a scholarship. Got to play a little bit of sports, which is not possible in Europe. So I was excited to do that here in the U.S. And after graduating from college, just stayed in the area. And ended up at a international freight forwarder, an NVO. Got into the freight industry and absolutely loved working with companies all over the world. So
tennis was your sport of choice, right?
Yeah.
So you came to the United States and you liked being here, and you joined really a startup freight forwarder.
Correct. Yes.
Steam Logistics here in Chattanooga.
Exactly. Yes. Them being a startup was a huge selling point for me. I thought it was awesome for me to be part of something that is just about to, grow and get big, and being able to help them grow it, and was really something I was excited about because I was quite young as well. And especially it being a national freight forwarder, that was really compelling to me as well. Being from another country, I wanted to do something that allows me to speak to people from all over different parts of the world, which it allowed me to do. So I was really excited about that.
Yeah, and Steam's got a great story. I mean, it's really a model inspired many of the founders. The founders came from Access America, which sold to Coyote, which then sold to UPS.
Correct.
So they understand how to build a sales culture, and really building an international forwarder is quite different, as they learned, than building a freight brokerage.
Correct. Yes, I think that from the very beginning on, we realized that there was a few challenges that we had to overcome. That I think that we had a lot of good people that joined us a little bit later on when I joined them as well, that helped us overcome some of these things. Because when you have a domestic freight brokerage, it's, you're very focused on what you're doing. When you try and get into the international freight forwarding industry, which is a huge industry that is just involves so many other things when it comes to manufacturing and supply chain as a whole, and all the rules and regulations that come with it, it's a lot different. It's not just, I need a truck picked up here and there, which is difficult to do as well, because I know a lot of people get late all the time. But on the international side, when it comes to rules and customs, and now the trade war, I think it's quite another animal that we had to kind of overcome.
And freight forwarding is not really cradle to grave, as the Access America team found. They ran a cradle to grave trucking brokerage business, and really going from cradle to grave into international forwarding is really about having real expertise that understand local regulations, local providers, and can marry those up.
Correct, and local as well as international. There's just a few things that you have to understand that are going on in other countries in order to even do business with those countries, because we used to ship from all over the world, or they still are, and that's just something that's quite difficult to do. And also managing the expectations with some of these importers that don't only ship from Europe and Asia, but really all over the world, and even being able to find a service from a really, really small port in Africa is not as easy as you would think.
So what is it like joining a startup, going from college to a startup? I think that's in many ways an MBA or a PhD worth of experience, but what was your experience like?
I think it was being from a country like Germany that is very structured and organized.
Process-oriented.
And I'm a very process-oriented person. That was hard, I'm not gonna lie. That was for me to just kind of take it a little bit more, chill and not be as process-driven was hard in the beginning. But I think it helped me a little bit, as well as hopefully help them, because I am a process-oriented person that was able to bring that to a startup. I think that the startup feel is awesome, and I think that you learn a lot. Like you said, it's just kind of, you just have to try something and hope it works, and if it doesn't, try something different. And I think that's really neat. But being able to bring those processes to a startup, I think has really helped them grow. And I think that's where startups really, where it really matters.
Yeah, Steam has a fascinating story. I mean, it's an MVOCC.
Correct.
based in Chattanooga, Tennessee,
I know,
which
the only
is
one,
a landlocked.
I know.
Is a landlocked area.
I think 20 years ago, we always joke about there's no way you can even have a freight forwarder NVO anywhere that's landlocked. It has to be at a Port Savannah or whatnot. So, and yeah, when we actually, when they tell customers where they're at, they can't even believe it. They're like, oh, you're in Chicago, or you're in New York, you're in Savannah. Nope, Chattanooga.
No, the only body of water
So-
is the Tennessee River.
Yeah.
That's close. What do you see? I mean, international trade has just been completely disrupted. We've gone from really the world is flat to all of a sudden walls and being built up. It's no longer a flat world. What do you see what do you see happening that's really, how do companies respond to this?
I think that a lot of companies responded in a way where they have built their supply chain in China, in the past 10 years, 15 years, some even 20 years up, and you can't really change it that quickly. It's easy to say we're going to pack up and move everything to India or Vietnam or Singapore, but it doesn't happen overnight. So a lot of these companies that you would expect to make quick movements are actually evaluating the situation, trying to find solutions, long-term solutions for this immediate problem, because it's not as quick. You can't just, like I said, go up and pack up your manufacturing and move it to Vietnam. We are seeing some changes. Lots of clients are able to move at least 15 to 20% into different countries. But I would say in order for them to actually move it all over, that's not going to happen as quick as they would maybe hope. Another thing that we've been seeing is that just, peak season right now is not really as you would expect it. It's a pretty soft market, which is great for someone that's playing the spot market and just shipping a few containers here and there. But for someone that has contracted rates, if the contracted rates, the fixed rates are almost at the same price as those FAKO spot rates, that's when it comes to, okay, it's really a soft market at the moment. Mm-hmm. The capacity is there. They're going to have some blank sailings. So I think for most of these importers here in the U.S., they're just kind of seeing how it plays out. They're not making any drastic moves right now because you don't really know what's going to happen.
Right.
So you can't really prepare for something that you don't know yet. So we're seeing a lot of these importers just kind of hanging in there, trying to just get through it and see what happens.
So why did you decide to leave? You were running operations at Steam. You guys have built a really fast-growing startup, Inc. 5000, has a great story, really good gig. Why did you decide to come to FreightWaves?
Well, I just think that FreightWaves is doing something that nobody else is doing it, and being part of something that nobody else is doing is something that I've always wanted to do. And I think that's just, I'm hoping also that I can bring something to the table that you may not have yet. Like you said, at the international side, I've always been interested in that. I was able to do that at Steam. I think that I can do the same here. So yeah, I'm just excited to just bring that additional knowledge to some of these people in this industry that they may not have, that FreightWaves can bring.
Yeah, I think our editorial group, certainly with the acquisition of American Shipper, Henry Byers, who you worked with at Steam, has an expertise in global trade. And frankly, 5.0 Sonar is coming out in Chicago. We're releasing it on November 12th and 13th. It's going to be a fascinating experience because, I've been playing with some of the early iterations of it in terms of product. It is amazing what it's going to be able to accomplish. And I know that you're going to be a big champion of that, out talking to clients about how to solve their problems and interpret what's happening. Well, Laura, we're really excited that you're joining us here. I'm sure that we'll have you back on not only Full Speed Ahead, but maybe you're going to get your own show. Is that?
Why not?
You can be your own host of the International Trade Show. We got to come up with a really snazzy name. One of our investors told us that we always have these fun names. He really is a big fan of it. So we'll have to come up with something really cool.
I think it's something German for you.
Something German? Yeah, we'll have to do that. That's cool. I don't know that we would know. Any ideas off the hand?
Let me think about it.
All right, we're going to come back. That is your homework assignment for the next time we have you on. Well, Laura, great to have you. You start on October 1st. Going to be out there in Chicago on November 12th and 13th from FreightWaves Live. You can still register today to get tickets to FreightWaves Live. It is going to be the show in freight and logistics, talking about the future, where things are headed. Not only the U.S., but we have our Global Trade Tech Forum at FreightWaves Live. I know Laura's going to be there talking about what's happening, where things are headed. And the new Sonar 5.0, is going to be game-changing. So check that out.